You all remember how we thought Kirk and Kendra were out here acting like the ideal couple? Well, think again, because behind closed doors, it appears that they have been hiding some seriously messy hotel room secrets, and Mendeecees is out here spilling all the tea. But wait, how did Mendeecees even get involved in this? Why is he suddenly exposing Kirk and Kendra's private business as if he were hosting a whole Netflix documentary on their drama? Let's face it, Kirk isn't exactly known for being the most faithful husband, and Kendra sis has some secrets of her own. What happened in that hotel room is more outrageous than any reality TV plot you've ever seen. Stay tuned, because this expose is going to leave you shocked, perplexed, and possibly even a little disgusted. All right, everyone, buckle up, because what I'm about to reveal is going to completely upend Atlanta. You think you've seen love and hip-hop drama? Think twice, because when Mendeecees revealed this little secret, he did more than just leak TA. He drowned the entire city in it. Kirk and Kendra, oh sweetheart, thought they were moving quietly, but guess what? Silence received receipts, and when those receipts start coming in, nobody is safe. Now, let's get into it. Why is Mendeecees, of all people, the one exposing Kirk and Kendra? Where did he obtain the information that could instantly destroy marriages, careers, and reputations? And most importantly, what exactly happened in that hotel room that made everyone in Atlanta whisper? Now, if you recall, Kendra's entire brand was based on being a sophisticated professional lawyer who didn't play about her man or her side chick life. However, as soon as she dropped this bomb, people quickly began to piece things together. Let's talk about Kirk, because his reputation is already on the line, and we shouldn't forget how he had a whole baby on Rashida and how his business meetings always seemed to end. When the rumors first surfaced that Kirk and Kendra were spotted sneaking into a luxury hotel together, people were giving it a lot of side-eye, but they weren't particularly shocked. But here's where it gets real. Mendeecees wasn't just hearing rumors like the rest of us. No, he actually saw some things with his own eyes. Check this out. Mendeecees was staying at a very renowned ATL hotel, the kind that celebrities go to when they don't want to be seen, but always end up getting caught anyhow. At first, he didn't give it much thought, but then he saw Kirk enter the lobby and look around as if he were acting out a scene from Mission Impossible. You know, let me make sure my wife isn't lurking. Walk, yeah, that one, he said. A few minutes later, Miss Kendra Robinson entered the room by herself. She had no help or legal meetings, just her and a very suspicious vibe. Now, perhaps we could just put it down to coincidence. A hotel employee walked by and said to another employee, "They're back again." "Excuse me, back again." Mans, being the nosy king that he is, decided to stay a little longer, and boy, that patience paid off, because about 20 minutes later, bellhop rolled a cart full of champagne and chocolate-covered strawberries to the VIP penthouse suite. Maybe pigs fly too, but I've never seen it happen until now. At this point, Mendeecees was saying, there's no way Kendra is involved in some messy cheating scandal with Kirk of all people. So, just to test the waters, he hit up Kirk with the casual, "What are you on, bro?" text. You know how Kirk lied with his whole chest, baby. Kirk texted back right away, saying, "I'm sorry, I'll wait." You have the audacity, because Kirk was actually entering the elevator at that precise moment with the "Do Not Disturb" sign in his hand. And guess who entered right after? You already know who Ms. I'm a Faithful Wife, Kendra Robinson, is. At this point, Mendeecees thought, all right, let me really find out. He chooses to check Kendra's Instagram story because, as you may know, dishonest people frequently make mistakes on social media, and guess what? Kirk was ostensibly at home at the exact moment. Someone from inside the hotel came forward with a juicy piece of information just when we thought it couldn't get any worse. Apparently, security footage exists. According to sources, there is camera evidence showing Kirk and Kendra entering the same penthouse suite at precisely 2:07 a.m., while Kendra was posting a throwback selfie about her long day. And get ready, because this will be unbelievable. The hotel staff member vows on everything that when Kirk left the following morning, he was dressed completely differently than when he arrived. Why are you changing clothes, Kirk? Now, we're not claiming that there is proof that anything happened in that hotel room, but we are saying that if someone books a penthouse suite under a false identity and walks like a duck, it definitely isn't a business meeting. And you know that the internet doesn't play when it comes to making connections, because as soon as this story appeared on blogs, someone discovered a very intriguing credit card charge. It appears that Kendra's assistant was involved in several transactions at that same hotel under a suspicious name. Now, why would Kendra's assistant be booking penthouse suites at the same location where Kirk was sneaking in? I'll let you figure it out. The problem is that when people cheat, they always get careless because, guess what? The following morning, Kendra and the person who answered heard a man's voice in the background. It wasn't JC's few Mendeecees, and they knew things were going to get messy. So, if you thought this was bad, wait until you hear what happens next, because in part 2, we're going to delve even deeper into the scandal, including what Rashida had to say after learning about the anonymous tipster who revealed the truth about what actually happened in that room and the receipts that could potentially spell the end of Kirk's marriage. Oh, you're not prepared, because what I'm about to tell you will shake the entire Love and Hip Hop cast. Boom, Mendes already had a ton of evidence in his possession, but what? Now, let's talk about how Rashida found out. While Mendeecees is out here piecing things together, word gets back to Rashida, and when I say that woman snapped, listen, Rashida isn't new to Kirk's bullshit. She's been putting up with this man's nonsense for years. However, this time was different, because if Kirk is dating Kendra, a married woman, a lawyer, and a whole Love and Hip Hop castmate, that's not just cheating, that's outright betrayal. Imagine that Rashida is at home going about her business when she receives an anonymous direct message on her phone. It contains a screenshot of the hotel's guest list, and guess what name was on it? Kirk Frost. Right under his booking, under Kendra's assistant's name, is a booking. Rashida's blood boils at this point, and she calls Kirk right away, asking, "What's this? I'm hearing about you sneaking into a hotel. You guys are going to believe a random message over your own husband? I was there for business, sir. What type of business requires you to be in a penthouse at 2 in the morning? Kirk does what Kirk does best, lie, ma'am. I'm with a married woman." So now Rashida is like, bet, because when a woman stops talking and moves silently, it's finished. She decides to drive herself to the hotel, so presto, Rashida has 2. What happens next, baby? When Rashida enters the lobby, she sees Kendra's assistant looking extremely anxious. Rashida doesn't play games. She approaches Kendra and asks, "Where's Kirk?" The assistant immediately begins to stumble over her words, saying, I don't know. I'm just here to lie." All lies. But before Rashida can press any buttons, this is where things get crazy. After a while, her phone rings, and when she looks down, she sees another message from the anonymous tipster. This time, it's a video, and this one was the final straw, since Rashida saw footage of Kirk leaving the penthouse suite at 6:42 a.m. when she pushed play. "Excuse me, Kirk, why are you changing clothes? I'm wearing the same sweatshirt that he was seen wearing the previous evening, but I'm wearing a completely different pair of jeans." Rashida spots red at this time and rushes up to the front desk. She slams her purse down and says, "I need to know what room my husband just walked out of." The hotel employee responds, "Ma'am, we can't disclose that information." However, baby Rashida wasn't taking no for an answer, so she took out her phone, dialed Kirk immediately, and put in on speaker. "Where are you?" the brazen, dishonest man asked. "I just left the gym." "Why the gym?" At this point, Rashida doesn't even need to hear another word. She hangs up, walks to the front desk, and says, "I don't need y'all to tell me anything. I already know what it is." "Sir, the only thing you were working out last night was a damn alibi." She then leaves. Let's quickly check in on Kendra, because while Kirk is over here fumbling his lies, Kendra is at home acting like everything is fine. However, Kendra was unaware that the streets were already talking, honey. As soon as Mendeecees' story began to circulate, people began sending in their own receipts, and one of the juiciest pieces of tea was from Kendra's own homegirl. Apparently, this woman, who we'll call Miss X, was supposed to be Kendra's friend, but she knew far too much. And when she realized that the drama was already public, she said, "Oh well, let me go ahead and spill the rest of it." The blogs quickly took control of this mess. A direct message to a well-known blog stating, "I love Kendra, but she's been sneaking around with Kirk. This isn't the first time." What do you mean, baby? Because now everything is beginning to make sense. Why did Kirk and Kendra appear too at ease with one another? Why did they continue to attend the same business events? Why was Kendra always so defensive whenever Jock brought up loyalty? Because sis was hiding something, and now everyone knows. This story isn't finished yet because, guess what? Lil Scrappy finally found out about everything. And when I tell you, Scrappy wasn't having it. Remember, Scrappy had been side-eyeing Kirk, and the moment he heard that his own castmates were out here acting like this, he was ready to pull up. So everyone, you better hold on tight because part 3 is about to go down. We're talking phone calls, confrontations, and a shocking confession that nobody saw coming. Oh, you're not prepared. The moment Lil Scrappy heard Kirk and Kendra creeping around, it was up because, listen, Scrappy doesn't play about his people. After everything Kirk had done to Rashida, Scrappy said, "There's no way we're letting this slide." So, boom, Scrappy pulls up to Frost Bistro, Kirk's own restaurant, and when he walks in, the entire room falls silent because, baby, they already knew what was going on. Before going down, Scrappy approaches Kirk and asks, "Ira, do you have something you want to tell me?" Kirk tries to act foolish, but Scrappy knows exactly what he's talking about. Scrappy approaches Kirk and says, "Man, stop playing. You're out here creeping with Kendra." Kirk's expression says it all. He was caught, but instead of acknowledging it, he simply shakes his head and says, "Man, do you believe anything?" That's crazy, sir. The only crazy thing about this situation is that he's still lying. However, just when it looked like Scrappy was going to really show up on Kirk, guess who walks in? Kendra. Because of this, it got real. Scrappy turns his attention directly to her, saying, "Yo, you have something to say because your name is all over this mess too." Kendra is frozen, unable to speak because while you can lie to your man and your friends, when you're in front of people who know the truth, guilt strikes differently. And guess who else walks in? Jock Few. This was going to be a scene, baby, because let's not forget, Kendra is Jock's wife. He loses it the moment he sees her standing there looking guilty. What the hell is this? Kendra panics and turns to Jock, trying to explain that, "Baby, it's not what it looks like, I swear." "Girl, stop. It's exactly what it looks like." Jock laughs and says, "So all that I'm a loyal wife talk was with Cap, huh?" Jock felt ashamed, and let's be honest, he even suspected something was wrong. But it's a different level of disrespect when the entire city knows your wife has been creeping. Now, as Jock is standing there taking it all in, Rashida enters and says, "Baby, she didn't come to play." She marches straight up to Kirk and says, "So this is what we are doing now. This is what my marriage is." And Kirk just sighed as if he was exhausted. Sir Rashida, who ought to be exhausted, was tired of your falsehoods, of your stupidity, and of you making her look like a complete idiot. It gets worse, because now that everyone in the room is staring at Kendra, guess what this woman does? She breaks down in tears and says, "It was a mistake. I didn't mean for it to happen." The worst part is that Jock doesn't believe it. He simply shakes his head and says, "Man, you were out here making me look stupid." Y'all, the room was silent. Mistakes include sending the wrong SNS, missing your keys, and the entire situation. Because you can tell when a man is done when he stops screaming and just starts talking calmly. Jock was done, but before he could leave, Kendra delivered a bombshell. She wipes her tears and says, "Well, since we were telling the truth, you weren't faithful either." Kendra simply folds her arms and adds, "Yeah, let's not act like you were some perfect husband. I know about those other women, y'all." "Wait, hold on, pause, excuse me," Jock says as he turns around. "The entire." When Jock finished, Scrappy threw up his hands in a manner akin to a clown, and the room gasped because now the whole situation just flipped. Because baby, if Jock has been cheating too, then what are we really talking about here? The entire love and hip-hop universe was abruptly altered when he left. Kirk and Rashida were barely holding on to Scrappy as he washed his hands of all the drama, and Jock and Kendra were on thin ice. The most absurd thing is that no one has seen Kendra since she vanished. There have been no Instagram posts, interviews, or anything else because, after being exposed like that, you can't just show up like everything is normal. However, this is love and hip-hop, so there's no way that this is the last time we hear about this mess because, believe me, there's still more to this story, and I'll be here to tell you everything when the next bomb drops. Stay tuned, because baby, this isn't over, and that's just the beginning. Think about this entire scandal. Was Jock playing his own game, or was Kendra truly at fault? Share your ideas in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want more crazy updates like this one. Get the actual tea without any filters at all times. See you everyone at the next one.